I'm here with Eric Winter at the International Eventing Forum. What are you doing here, Eric?
That's a really good question. Eric Smiley asked me to come and talk a little bit about course design and to work with Chris Burton, who's one of the best riders in the world, and to just pose some questions on the way I design courses and how he would answer them, and to just put a little package together that educated and entertained, really. So we met last Sunday, I think, just for a few hours in his kitchen, and we talked about some things that I thought we might do, and he said, these are my passions, that's what I wanted to come across. So hopefully that's just what we've delivered today, really.
And did you agree with all his training methods?
I think he's a beautiful rider. Yeah, and yes, really. I think that it's fundamental horsemanship he showed today. I think that actually he just showed obedience and a softness, and it interested me greatly that when he jumped into those distances he was so soft and allowed the horses to move forward, but that they did, because he's always secure in his lower leg, so he asked them to go and do that. I think it would be easy to sit in the stands here and think that I want my horse to go to that, but actually the first start at that point is you've got to ride like he rides, which is lovely, but it's great to have aims in it, and I hope there was some education in what we did, with the sort of opening the horses up, closing them down again, and the way he bends them and asks them to jump those little skinny fences and things.
Now, from Blenheim to Badminton, you've really got your work cut out. So are we going to expect to see many changes at Badminton this year?
Yes, substantial. Really, we've not. I think we've got 5 or 6 fences that we've used before. Other than that, it's all new fences. The track is intrinsically the same, but we've changed it in little places. And probably, hopefully, they'll jump some things that they haven't jumped for 20, or we haven't had at Badminton for 20 years, and they'll jump some things that they haven't ever jumped before. And it will be a good experience for everybody. They'll enjoy it.
And at this time of year, what challenges do you face with course design?
Probably the ground and putting fences out, because we're starting the beginning of the season. We put our last few fences out. So Badminton, we've been really lucky this year because the weather's been really good. October, November, December, we've had very little rain, and so we did all our groundworks early, and we've been able to build those fences as we've gone along. Now suddenly it's starting getting wetter, so we're faced with that sort of being a little bit more of a challenge, but actually it's half an hour for me. If we don't put it out today and we do it tomorrow, it won't make that much difference.
Now, I remember you saying something actually when I interviewed you previously for the Gaitpost, that you build courses that you as a rider would have been frightened to ride.
Yeah, a little bit. You've always got to think, if you were sat on a really good horse that you ride. But I think that's not the worst thing in the world. I think people do things better when they're slightly nervous. Yeah, I think the worst thing that you come across, you have more incidents of poor riding when you have a course of roll tops that nobody's frightened of, because nobody respects it. Yeah, and they just charge over the top of it. Actually, there's got to be a bit of you that thinks, I want to clear that fence, I have to jump that fence like this, I'm going to make a plan as to how I'm going to ride that fence. It makes you ride better. You ride to 2 fences, you don't have to have any sort of plan, you just ride to them, and then mistakes happen.
Finally, what sort of horse is going to cruise around your course at Badminton this year?
Hopefully controllable and balanced and well trained. I think they'll have to be brave. I think the fence going into the water, we have a palisade going into the water that is quite substantial, and a fair few sort of questions. It starts off, just fairly open and travelling, but it closes down very much in the centre and the end of the course. And we've got a big bullfinch coming out of the one lake, so hopefully it will ask a lot of different questions and be a sort of track that you haven't seen for a while. I think some of the questions actually haven't been around for probably 15, 20 years.
Well, we look forward to seeing all of that in May.
It would be exciting, wouldn't it?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ellie.
Here with Chris Burton at the International Eventing Forum. Chris, what have you been working on here today?
Oh, so many things. I don't know how I can quite go over it all again, but I did want to take the opportunity to talk about some fundamentals that I really believe in, and for some people they might think it's a little bit crass or a little bit rude, but actually it's been happening with horses and riders for centuries, and I thought, well, I wanted to steer straight into the skid and talk about it, and I actually think it then becomes more harmonious between horse and rider, and that's what I believe in.
And the sort of horses you've been riding here, are they horses you've had to teach to jump, or are they naturally talented?
Yes, so you raise a really good point. Some horses really learn and progress, and they get they end up becoming much better jumpers. Some of them are just jumpers from the day they're born, and you don't have to do a thing, you just point them at a pole. I have to be honest, these two are very good jumpers, and that's why I bought them today, didn't I? So they make me look good, and that was really fun.
And where are you sourcing your horses at the moment?
Yes, it's a very difficult question. To be honest, I can't say I have a preference anywhere. I mean, we've just bought a lovely one recently, and we found it 2 miles up the road. So they're everywhere. We go to Ireland, we go to the continent, I go to Germany quite a lot. Wherever I can see a nice horse, I don't really mind where it comes from.
And what have you been up to since you won Burghley?
Oh, enjoying some downtime. It's a bit of a leading question, that, isn't it? Because my wife and I are pregnant and due to give foal in May, so a big life change coming up for us, but a bit nerve-wracking, but very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2017, what's the plan?
As well as having a child and a family.
Yeah, as well as having a child on the horse front.
Yeah, we've got the owners of Noblest are excited to have a go at Kentucky, so that's something I'm very grateful to Sue Lawson and Carolyn Townsend for giving me that opportunity. Kentucky, and then I'm lucky to have 2 horses, T.S. Jemimo and Graf Liberty, heading to Badminton, so I'm in a very fortunate situation.
Brilliant. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
I'm here with 3 super grooms. Perhaps you can tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Alex Van Tuyll.
I'm Imogen Mercer.
And I'm Zanie King.
And what are you doing here at the International Eventing Forum?
We are here giving our perspective to everyone here in the audience listening on what we do on a daily basis, working with horses, logistics, how we get our horses and riders to and from competitions nationally and internationally.
And Imogen, tell me, I mean, how would you teach a junior groom? I mean, what sort of things do you go through with them when they start a new job?
You know, anything from basic stable care management, you know, to teaching them to prepare them for competitions, letting them gain the experience they need to learn on the job. So, you know, you've got to teach them anything and everything. You know, the smallest thing is just as important as the biggest thing in the job. It's the small things that make a big difference. You can't oversee anything, but, you know, the younger generation need to experience and learn just as I did one day.
And Zanie, you've groomed for a number of riders. I mean, tell me about your best grooming experience, competition-wise.
God, that's really hard. For me, personally, it was probably for my husband when he won Blenheim 2007 with A Secret Weapon. Probably because he was my husband and I had an awful lot of more than just about the horse. The horse was very special, but that meant the world to me. Other than that, it was the Grand Slam with Pippa Funnel.
And Alex, you've looked after a large number of horses. What would you say would be your sort of horse of a lifetime?
I know I have a few horses of a lifetime, but probably Ballincoola for William, because he came off the lorry as a 4-year-old. We took him to 4-year-old, 5-year-old classes. He went to his first 4-star, and then in 2005 he went on to Malmo to what was World Cup, and then he won a 4-star at Burghley. So, you know, I've been with him from grassroots to some raw chestnut feral horse, thinking, oh my God, and then he went to win a 4-star. I never thought I'd ever do a horse like that.
And Imogen, how long were you grooming for Sam Griffiths?
For 6 years.
And you're leaving him, am I right in thinking?
So I have stopped working full time for Sam, but I am still in there training the staff. So probably on a bit more of a back foot, but staff training and overseeing some of the runnings of the yard.
And whilst you're with Sam, what did the journey involve?
Oh gosh, well, I didn't know anything when I started. Well, I had evented myself, but as a groom as such, I didn't know anything. My first trip I did with Sam, I went on my own with 4 horses to France, and I was 19. So I have sort of had to learn on the job. I got thrown in at the deep end, and it was sort of sink or swim, and luckily I swam. But yeah, you know, I had to learn off of guys like Alex and Zanie, and then pick up everything whenever I went anywhere, you know, see how somebody else does something. You know, they might do something in a slightly different way, and you might think, oh, that's a good idea.
Like what? Give us an example.
Oh God. Well, I don't. I think I can. So one time I remember frantically, platting, trying to get platted because Sam had been riding before a dressage test, and actually then one day, as simple as I saw someone had half platted their horse, so they were half platted before they rode. Then all you had to do was half of your plats after that ride, which made my life a hell of a lot easier. You know, it's just small things like that that make your life so much less stressful. But you only do that by experiencing.
And Zanie, what do you love most about your job as a groom?
I think it's the relationships I build with the horses. I think it's getting inside the horses and making a difference, and having a great relationship with the horse and the rider, really. That whole team thing, especially when it works, when the result happens, it's an amazing feeling. I think we've all felt it.
Definitely.
Has there been a defining moment of your career?
Gosh, I'm sure I've got a defining moment. In what respect? In what's been there most?
You know, where you've really thought, you know, I love what I do, and this is what I want to do forever.
I think I had the most amazing years with Pippa, and I think when she won the Grand Slam, I think it was amazing to me. It was amazing to work for somebody like her, have a relationship with her and those horses, and I just thought she made it easy. I just thought I could do this for anybody, and you know, it would be that easy. But it was an amazing. And when you work for people that respect you as grooms, you feel that you're a massive contribution to that. And it's like anything, it's with confidence and self-esteem. It's like any job. You know, if you get great job satisfaction, you know, you want to stay in it.
Finally, Alex, how would you sell your job as a competition groom to younger people?
Well, I say you have to learn on the job, you have to get the experience, and you have to have that want to, can do attitude, and be prepared to work long hours and think outside the box along the way. It's a great lifestyle. I've had a great time over the years, made some amazing friends, and been to places I wouldn't get to go to if I was doing a 9-to-5 office job.